Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Thanks for stopping by 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Is this your first time here? No? Well, for those of you who are new here, my name is Fuzz Martin, and this is a weekly podcast about positive things happening in and around Washington County, Wisconsin. You may have heard the news recently that southeastern Wisconsin's most famous chain of local record stores, the Exclusive Company, has announced that it is closing all of its stores after many, many years. You may have also heard that the original store, the West Bend store, has been purchased by Joe and Mary Zaremba and is now called The Beat Goes On Records and More. Joe and hilarious longtime Exclusive Company employee Jesse Averill join me to talk about the historic record store and why the Zarembas are working hard to keep it alive. So let's drop the needle and listen to 15 minutes on The Beat Goes On Records and More with Joe Zaremba and Jesse Averill on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Joe Zaremba and Jesse Averill, thanks for joining me today. It's been an exciting few weeks for both you guys. Congratulations on opening The Beat Goes On Records and More.
Thank you very much. Exciting.
I have a little backstory for both of you. I'll start with Jesse. We both worked together for a number of years while you were working on WBKV at the shopping show.
That's correct.
In West Bend. Good to see you. You still doing any of that?
No.
So you're not there. I'm not there.
We're not there.
But we're here together right now.
And I was never there.
And you were never there, but you're here right now. And
sure
Joe Zaremba, you sent me a Facebook message a couple of weeks ago. I was at Disney with my family. The message had a news story about the Exclusive Company in West Bend being bought out by some local folks. I skimmed the story and messaged you and said, yeah, that'd be a great idea for the show. And you said, for the show. And I didn't realize at the time that you were the person in the news story that purchased the Exclusive Company, which is now The Beat Goes On Records and More. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was pretty funny.
It was funny. I felt like a total dunce, but it was my own fault for not reading the full thing. So, Jesse, you'd been at the Exclusive Company for a number of years, right?
Hired in 1986.
1986. So we'll do the math here. That what 36 years. 36 years. Well, my math is bad.
Left for 4 years and 4 days. So rounding out totally of 32 years total.
Wow. Okay. Well, what have been some of your favorite memories over the years at the Exclusive Company?
There's many of them. Business-wise, every time we do very, very well, that's always a huge plus. But, throughout the years, and I've run almost all the Exclusive Company stores in West Bend and south of here. I mean, we've had in-stores with bands like Slayer and Smashing Pumpkins. And, those are kind of the cool big things when you can get, 300-400 people together, keep them organized, in line, and happy to meet the band. So, yeah, those are kind of the in-stores are big. And then, of course, throughout the years of going to a bazillion and 7 concerts.
What got you to first start at the Exclusive Company?
I was always interested in music. Eventually, I was going to be a DJ. I wanted to be like Fuzz Martin.
Hey.
That was the only one. The Fuzz Martin fan club started by me.
Yes.
So I wanted to be a DJ, and I thought that would be cool. Then in 1984, the West Bend Exclusive Company was hiring, and I came in second. I didn't get the job that time.
Sure.
So I went into the Navy as a journalist and, was able to do all of that stuff. Then when I came back, the position opened up again, and this time Dennis, the manager at the time, hired me, and I thought, yeah, this would be a fun little part-time job. 36 years later, it's full-time and then some.
Gotcha. Those 4 years that you left weren't to go back to the service, were they?
No, they wouldn't have me.
Okay.
I was kind of burnt out on retail, and I tried to do something different, and unfortunately, I sucked miserably at everything I did. So I am destined to run a record store.
All right. Very good. Very good. Joe, how did you become involved with the Exclusive Company and this whole thing that we have going on right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, involved is kind of an interesting definition. I used to come here in the 80s when Dennis and Jesse were working here, just shopping and just like, oh my God, because I used to shop. I lived in Illinois at the time, but I went to college at St. Norbert. So I found Exclusive in West Bend, and that's how I first got involved and got sucked right in, because every time I came up here, I'd go shopping there. Then, of course, I moved here about 23 years ago and stayed there, pretty decent customer, I think.
Yeah, Joe was a good customer. Is a good customer. He's a better customer now that he owns the place. But yeah, it spends a lot of money. Record Store Day is always held in the April, and Joe would pay the light bill for April.
Very good. So you're a big record collector.
Yes, huge collection. I still have the ones from when I was a kid. My first albums were really like the two Beatles' greatest hits, the blue and the red.
Sure.
Very famous records. And from there, it just blew up and continued my collection, continued moving those albums around, move after move after move. Anyway, the real question is, how did I get involved here? Of course, I got the news that that this was going to be happening to all the exclusive stores, and I was very emotionally impacted by it. And so I gave Jesse my number and I said, give it to the powers that be and see what happens. And called me the next day.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was talking to Mr. G's nephew, who's kind of running the business now. And he and I just hit it off, clicked on philosophy and vision and all those things. And next thing you know, we're like, let's shake on it. And we made it official earlier this week.
Yeah. So it was recently in the news that after 66 years, the exclusive company is closing all their stores. Are any of the other stores that we know of getting bought out in this kind of fashion yet?
No.
Okay. So this is the one. So you're going to save the legacy here, Joe.
That was a big part of it. But West Bend was where the first one started. And so we want to keep it going. It belongs in downtown West Bend. It's a big part of, the history there, as well as just the vibrancy. And we're a music loving community, and I just want to keep it going. And
if it's been open for 66 years, has it been that location for 66 years?
Yeah, it's been in downtown West Bend the whole time, but this is the 5th location.
Oh, really? Okay. I assume it takes a lot to move all that merchandise from one to the another.
Yes, records are heavy.
Yeah, yes.
They're very, very heavy.
Jim's Mr. G's brother, I got on the phone with him during this process, and he said, hey, a little bit of history. Hardly anybody knows this, but when we first opened, we were called Jim's Record Mart.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I'd love to find a sign like that.
Yes.
That might have been when he was selling out of his trunk. If you open up the trunk, it said Jim's Record Mart underneath the trunk.
Could be.
They always had the famous sayings, say it with me, the exclusive company. Are you going to come up with something for The Beat Goes On?
Well, I'm sure we will. We're working.
Beat it with me.
I'm not sure about that one, but we are working on our logo and some of our marketing. And of course, we intend to do a lot of new things along with just keeping the beautiful business that it's been rocking and rolling the way it's been.
Sure. So is it you and your wife that own it?
Yes.
Okay. And then
yes.
What are your plans for The Beat Goes On as you move forward?
Well, very involved in the community. I really think there's a lot of opportunity with all the music events and things like that, and that we could certainly partner with things like Regner Rocks and
Sure.
Homegrown and Downtown Music on Main, of course. I mean, that's where we are. And again, I'm involved with places like Loch Lomond and the Historical Society. So I think we could pull a lot of different things together and just make events. We're actually partnering with the Bend to do the Whiskey and Vinyl things on Wednesdays, which is more of a winter event. It'll probably go through April and then pick up again in fall.
Okay.
But that's just another example of the type of things that we like to try to do.
Sure. Tell listeners about those events in particular. What happens at the Whiskey and Vinyl events? I assume I can make some assumptions based on the title, but
Yep. Initially, the idea is that you go over to the exclusive and you buy yourself a new album and then come on over to the Bend and listen to it.
Do they play it over the big
Yep. They play
system?
it through the
Wow.
big system.
Okay.
And of course, they got a turntable from the store.
Sure.
And I've gone to quite a few of them, but there's some people who have gone to every single one. They go every Wednesday, go buy an album, walk across the street, crank up the volume in their system, and it's pretty fun. And they also set up a lot of retro video games too.
Okay.
To bring, so it's a very family-oriented, fun thing.
I saw your post from last week on your Facebook page. Now, your Facebook page has grown tremendously. There's a lot of support for this, isn't there?
Yes. The positivity has just been amazing. It's really fun for me just personally to have everybody say, oh my God, I can't think of a better guy. Anybody that's known me for so many years. It's like, oh my God, this great, perfect. So I just feel like I feel very humble, but I also feel a lot of responsibility. Hopefully that answers your question.
No, and so at the time that we're recording this, you're at about 800 followers after just a week after you introduced this, and this episode's going to come out a week after we've recorded it, so it's probably, hopefully, going to be even higher then, especially with all the news coming out about the exclusive company.
Yep.
So are you planning on keeping your staff hired?
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without them. That was part of the package,
Sure.
we have to have them. They've made that place a very successful place. When I was even talking to the family, the exclusive group, we're like, take your sign down, I'll put my sign up and leave everything the same.
Oh, great.
We want, and especially with the people, because they're fantastic.
Excellent. So when I was a kid, my first trip to the exclusive company was to buy a CD. My parents told me I could get my first CD, and I bought Garth Brooks, No Fences, from the Brookfield store. That was like 91 or 92, I think. And then I spent through the rest of high school all my money on country music CDs, which is how we met, Jesse, because of that. But tell me, what are people buying these days? Obviously, like, the music scene has changed a bit, and it's kind of gone through some kind of revivals, I guess, in certain ways for the physical music, right?
One word, Fuzz, one word only, vinyl.
Yeah.
It's all about vinyl records. Right now, there's probably about 12 to 15 times the demand for vinyl as there is availability.
Really? Okay.
They just did, well, there used to be 5 places in the world that made records. About a month and a half ago, the one in California burned down.
Oh, really?
So there's only 4 places in the world that make records. Last October, they ran out 500,000 Adele.
Wow.
So that pushed everything way back.
Okay.
The demand is there. The availability is not.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at things on a global scale, vinyl is a petroleum-based product.
Okay.
We already know the gas prices and the petroleum product there as well. Another thing I didn't know, I just read an article the other day, nickel, the iron ore nickel.
Yep.
We get the majority of that from Russia. Nickel has been halted on the trading post 2 times now. Don't ask me why it happened, but nickel is essential in the making of new records.
Okay.
It's in that plate that comes down and presses.
Sure.
So if you don't have nickel, you can't make new records.
Okay.
So we're doing fantastic. I mean, new records are coming in every single day.
Sure.
It's just the explosion that we're having could be volcanic in size instead of just, being the small little geyser that it is now.
I assume, Joe, that most of your collection is vinyl. Is that?
Well, I went through the series I
Okay.
had with all records, and then CDs came out, so I started replacing all my records with CDs, and
Yeah.
then now there's 180 gram and 200 gram vinyl, and so I'm now
Colored vinyl.
Colored vinyl, so it's
Right.
like, so I'm replacing my CDs with new vinyl.
Okay.
So I've gone through the cycle, but let's face it, the other part about a vinyl is that it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
It's just fun to open up and feel, and the music, if you feel the music more, then
Yeah. I'm just even like being able to flip through somebody's collection and see what they have.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Going back to why, there's a couple of different reasons. CDs and DVDs, that's a digital medium, and that can be streamed. Vinyl's analog. As soon as you digitize it to stream it, you lose that analog quality.
Sure.
So that's huge. And another thing is the whole pandemic. People were forced to shut down, stay home. After you've watched all the drivel that there is to watch on TV, well, then you go rock your records. All of a sudden, wham, 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 we're selling records like they were just invented.
Sure.
So that's huge.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, great for you guys. And it's really cool that people have re-embraced that kind of analog piece, because I have my phone sitting next to me. This is going to be streaming on, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and I won't press it into a record because I don't have the money.
Or the nickel.
You don't have the nickel, right?
Yes, I barely have a nickel, but it's super interesting, and it's great that you're able to keep this open and rolling. And are you going to update your LinkedIn now to say?
I don't even know what that LinkedIn thing is. I've had it since 2015. Every once in a while, you're being noticed on LinkedIn. I said, I didn't do anything to get noticed. So no, that won't be updated. But I just invite everybody who was in the sound of my voice to come and visit The Beat Goes On Records and more. It's going to be great. It's even going to be better than it used to be, because now I believe, instead of being a 11 store chain at one time, now down to 7. We're going to be a one single store, and I believe with Joe's vision, it's going to be more community orientated than it has in the past.
I assume, like always at the exclusive company days, if somebody's looking for something, they can come to you and you can help them find it.
Without question. Glad to be of service. If it's not in store and it's available, we'll get it for them.
All right. Very good. Joe, congratulations again.
thank you.
The community thanks you. Generation X thanks you. And good luck on your new adventures. And a reminder to listeners to shop local and to listen to records. Jesse, good seeing you again.
You as well, Fuzz.
All right. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
So many memories. So many memories of the exclusive company. It's great that Joe and Mary Zaremba chose to buy the West Bend store and keep it alive. Thank you again to Joe and also to Jesse Averill for joining me on this week's episode of 15 Minutes with Fuzz. If you ever have an idea for the show, drop me a line. fuzz.cc/guest. That's fuzz.cc/guest. New episodes drop every Monday at midnight. You can also find out more about the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The symbol is at 15 with Fuzz. And also, you can visit 15withfuzz.com. The show is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere you can think of. We're worldwide, baby. And we're going to talk to you again next week, right here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz.